So, the Nakba, what people refer to in anti-Israel circles as being the great catastrophe, the original sin that Israel committed by existing. And when the Arabs tried to attack the nascent Jewish state, which was created through legal means, without great displacement or usurping of other people's land or territories, the Arab leadership in the land and surrounding Arab countries decided to attack Israel. They lost, and they called it the catastrophe. People think, the narrative goes, well, Israel sort of came to the land, the Jews came, kicked everyone out, and they caused this catastrophe. Actually, the Nakba was coined to describe the fact that the Arabs weren't able to kill the Jews and the Jewish state. But it's now been morphed into being the narrative of the Jews came and kicked everyone out and they just did nothing wrong. It was just the Arabs who were just simple victims of a foreign group of people. Of course, the Jewish people. If ever there was a people that was so connected to a land, it would be the Jewish people and the land of Israel. But it's essential to understand that there was never a Nakba. It's a lie, or rather the term Nakba, the catastrophe they're referring to, was the fact that they weren't able to get rid of Jewish sovereignty, not the displacement that occurred, which was self-inflicted. The Nakba was the fact that the Arabs declared a war of extermination against the Jews in 1948 and lost. And if they had won, well, they'd be celebrating it to this day. They failed to kill all Jews and have been crying about it ever since. And the Jewish people are here to stay. And I want to show you a snippet from a documentary produced by Pierre Rehov, who is a French-Israeli filmmaker. And he basically has done a brilliant job at finding source material that shows just how false the supposed claims are against Israel, and how actually this whole thing, this narrative of a Nakba, was a cynical construction created in the aftermath of the Arabs failing to ethnically cleanse the Jews. I want to show you a snippet because I came across it recently and it's important stuff. Have a watch. Also, please do comment, by the way, in the comment section because I'm responding to them. Yes, this is actually live.
Our home was not taken over by the Israelis. No Israeli tank or platoon or soldiers came over and said, get out of here, get out of here. We want to take this house.
The country was bisected by the war. Even without Arab leaders encouraging Palestinians to leave, many might have left out of fear, and indeed out of a certain belief that the Arab armies will come out victorious from this war and they could come back to their land.
Many more people left because they were told that in a few days, or at worst a couple of weeks, they would return with the triumphant Arab armies to take their lands back and have more than they ever had before.
وهيك عشنا وقالوا لنا بعد 15 يوم ترجعوا ما رجعناش دملنا المفاتيح بالتراب جابونا على الكارنتينا صاروا يدبروا لنا هاي وبعدين اخذوا هذا المخيم وعملوا لنا خيم مثل المعسكرات صاروا يمنعوا اللي يطلع واللي يجي ومثل السجن سجنونا.
The Arab governments were largely responsible for the ruin of the Palestinian Arabs. By exaggerating their hopes, they made them intransigent. leaders are the responsible ones, spreading rumors of massacres and atrocities committed by Jews. They distilled terror in our hearts until we ran, thus abandoning our homes to our enemies.
يخشن على الواحد في دير ياسين يسقط البنت ولا المرأة ولا اللي هو يبقى واقف جوزها ولا أخوه يوقفون ويدق في البنات وهالنسوان وبعدين يرشوا بتاع دير ياسين.
قلت له إيه رأيك كيف نغطي هالموضوع؟
I asked Dr. Khalidi how we should cover the story. He said, we must make the most of this. So he wrote a press release stating that at Deir Yassin, children were murdered, pregnant women were raped, all sorts of atrocities.
We said there was no rape. He said we have to say this so the Arab armies will come to liberate Palestine from the Jews.
This was our biggest mistake. We did not realize how our people would react. As soon as they heard that women had been raped at Deir Yassin, Palestinians fled in terror. They ran away.
So let's be clear, even the claim of the massacre of Deir Yassin and the falsifying of it, that also led to more Arabs willfully of their own accord leaving. So much of the attempt to try and kill the Jews and get all the Arabs riled up to want to fight against Israel totally backfired against them.
From all our villages.
And they say that the Jews are the ones primarily responsible for the displacement. No, most of the displacement occurred not from Israel fighting a defensive war, but simply because the Arabs themselves were motivating others to leave through fear.
Arab radio stations passed on the false reports, ignoring the protests of the witnesses.
The Arab states encouraged the Palestinian Arabs to leave their homes temporarily to facilitate the passage of the Arab invading armies.
عندما كنت يعني هاجرت نحو لقبيبة ابن شاهين يعني في الشرق ثم بعد ما سقطت بلدنا وجاء الجيش المصري فعدنا إليها فوجدت أن يعني كل بيوتها محروقة لأنكم تعلمون أنه بيت الفلاح يعني هو عبارة عن بيت في أغصان شجر وفي عليه قصب بذرة إذا بتعرفوا نبات الذرة البيضاء التي تؤكل هذه وأيضا كمان يعني مليس بطينة.
By inciting 1 million Palestinian Arabs to leave their lands for neighboring countries, we have brought about their destruction.
So as I said, you can watch more at Pierre Rahov, his website and his YouTube channel. But goodness me, isn't this different to the narrative that we're told? I think there are so many people out there in the media, average, Joe Schmoes, members of the public, who think that Israel exists having somehow colonized a foreign entity, an indigenous people. But actually, it is so clear that the narrative is so different and has been intentionally misconstrued, intentionally false in order to try and undermine Israel after the fact that they were unable to destroy Israel in 48. We see the same thing happen over and over and over again. They try to kill the Jews, and then the Jews win or fight back and survive, and then they create a false narrative to try and create world sympathy and undermine Israel through public opinion. It's a very good strategy. It's pathetic, but it is a strategy that seems to be working. They did the same thing with Gaza. The Jews in Israel left Gaza and said, okay, you want to try having sovereignty? If you're really telling me that's what this is about, it's not about getting rid of us, Israel, it's about just having your own sovereign state. Fine, we'll leave Gaza. Let's try it there. They left it. And then, what do? They vote in Hamas. They send over rockets and build terror tunnels, teach kids to become martyrs. destroy their greenhouses, replace it with weapons depots. And then Israel retaliates, protects herself time and time again. And then they complain and they say, Israel's being so harsh on us, Israel's being so terrible to us. It's all self-inflicted. Everything they complain about, the anti-Israel side, the Palestinians as they're called, and I put it in inverted commas because the case of history is so clear that their whole identity is simply a cynical ploy to get rid of Israel. It's not genuine. They consider themselves part of the Arab world and would be happy to be part of another Arab country or empire. It's not about nationalism for them. But everything they lament is self-inflicted, from displacement to occupation to security checkpoints to blockades, which are really just censorships for weapons, to the recent war in Gaza. It's entirely self-inflicted. And so we have to know the truth about this. We have to know that the word Nakba, which people think is catastrophe, they think it's referring to the Jews taking over land, kicking people out. The term was actually coined to describe the fact that the Arabs were unable to destroy the Jewish state, and the Jews were able to return to land that had been conquered by Islamic conquests and other conquests, but was actually the indigenous, biblical, historical, and legal home of the Jewish people, who were happy to live with non-Jews, but it is their home. And the catastrophe, the humiliation for them was that they weren't able to throw the Jews into the sea. Now, before I continue, I'd like to let all of you know that JTV wants to do a lot more. We want to do a lot more. I want to do a lot more in spreading the truth of all these things, the truth of Israel and Israel's cause, to defeat anti-Semitism, not just by telling the truth, but also creating pro-Semitism, by inspiring the world with Jewish ideas and Jewish wisdom and the inspiration of Jewish history and Israel's history. And we want to do that through scaling our work. And I want to show you a short clip. This is the first time we're debuting this. This is our fundraiser campaign clip because we're about to launch the fundraiser. Have a watch of this now. The world is full of lies.
That Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu bear criminal responsibility.
The truth is under attack.
Which river, which sea? So you don't know the
From the media to the UN to celebrities, lies reign supreme. But the thing about the truth is that no matter how dark a room of lies, if you light one candle of truth, it can light up the whole room. That's why I created JTV, the global Jewish YouTube channel. We have been lighting the flame of truth on social media. We believe that the key to defeating anti-Semitism isn't just in fighting the hate, but it's about creating pro-Semitism and sharing the truth. There's nothing inevitable about anti-Semitism. We just need to tell our story with confidence, pride, and love. We believe that telling the truth, exposing the lies, and sharing the wisdom and beauty found within the Jewish story and the ideas of Judaism can transform the world. We're reaching millions of people all around the world from all backgrounds and perspectives. Every day we are transforming people's views about Israel, Jews, and Judaism. How do we know? Because they tell us. But there's so much more we can do. It's time for us to build a team to accelerate our growth and produce way more content that can appeal to even more people. We want to hire more presenters, start doing documentary series, and way more. And if we do that, JTV will start competing with the other big media players who peddle anti-Israel narratives. And that's where you come in. I'm asking you to please partner with us on our journey to spread the truth to the entire world by donating whatever you can to this fundraiser. Together, we will harness the power of social media to shine the light of truth to the whole world. Thank you so much for your support. So there you go. That is our debut of our campaign video. Let me know what you think of it. But I'd really be so grateful if you're able to support our campaign. You can click on the link in the video description of this video right now to donate to our campaign. The link is right below this video in the video description. I really do mean it when I say if you can contribute whatever you're able to and share it with your friends, family, you really will become a partner with us. You will partner with us in enabling us to accelerate our growth in spreading the truth of Israel and creating positive associations with the Jewish people and Judaism, and spreading the truth and light and wisdom of Judaism and the Jewish people's remarkable, miraculous story to the entire world. And we need it. We really, really need this right now. The world is crying out. It's desperate for moral direction. And the Jewish people's time has come to truly provide that. The world knows this. They know deep down. They have this sense that we need to turn to Israel for answers. That's why the world is so disproportionately obsessed with Israel, holds Israel to double standards, is obsessed with morally critiquing Israel, because they know, subconsciously perhaps, they know that moral direction, moral clarity is only going to come from the Jewish people, who are the custodians of God's vision for morality, for a world in which he wishes to dwell in. So please, I'm asking you, we really want to accelerate the growth by investing more in all kinds of other content, which means we can really start to compete in a serious way with other anti-Israel, anti-truth, anti-progress channels out there. And we want to be a light. So please contribute whatever you can by clicking in the video description to partner with us in being that light, illuminating the truth. Now let me turn to some of the comments before we finish. So please do let me know your thoughts on what I've just shown you. We've got a comment saying the Palestinian myth. If I click on this, can I see it? What happens now? There we go. So let's just raise it up a bit. The Palestinian myth has to be the most successful bit of propaganda in human history. I have to agree. It really is a stroke of brilliance. I don't know whether it's actually so brilliant, and rather it's just that anti-Semitism is so strong that people will, support it. It's like, I don't think Hitler would have had much success had he said it's the midgets and bicycle riders that are ruining Germany. So maybe it's not just that it's a good PR thing, but it's also that it's riding on an ancient hatred. Dino Bryce said, out of the 700,000 that fled, more than half of them left before the war, and many who left came back to stay in Gaza, as opposed to the 1 million Jews that left the Middle East, many of them forced to leave. Exactly. It's remarkable. No one talks about the Jews. Far more of them were displaced than Arabs that were displaced, many of whom, basically most of whom, because they were told to leave by Arabs, not by Jews, not by Israel. But the Jews were kicked out of other Arab countries. But we don't hear about them. Part of the reason, of course, is because Israel absorbed them. The Deus in lie is still being peddled today. Gazans are originally from Egypt. West Bankers are from Jordan. Exactly. They consider themselves part of the Arab world. In one of the first clauses in the Palestine National Charter, it says the Palestinians see themselves as an inseparable part of the Arab world. Great. Well, if you see yourself as an inseparable part of the Arab world, you're not indigenous to the land of Israel. You're indigenous to Arabia. Bridget says they've always inverted the narrative. Unfortunately, people still fall for it. I'm guessing this is Yitzi, that's your name. Imagine the perverse narrative that may have been made for all Jewish holidays, and specifically Purim and Hanukkah, that was extermination in nature. We got a comment from Sister A saying, I don't hate Palestinians, Muslims, but if they ever want their own state, they'll have to be demilitarized. Well, frankly, I think they've had opportunity after opportunity to have a Palestinian state, and they've shown us they're not interested. They're not interested in self-determination and nationalism and human rights and all those things. They're interested in killing the Jews. And therefore, I see no case anymore for a Palestinian state, which only feeds the fantasy, as we saw in Gaza, of getting rid of the Jewish state. It shows weakness. Autonomy leads to security issues. And really, Israel needs to come up with a different creative solution that recognizes the truth. That the land of Israel belongs to the Jewish people, and non-Jews can certainly live there, but it's a Jewish home, and they can't pose any security threat. And equally, we have to expose the lies, the lie of the Palestinian narrative, which, for me, I have to be honest, before October 7th, I was a little bit more open to saying, okay, maybe there is some sincerity here, but it's clear to me that it's not. It's not sincere. It's not sincere nationalism. It's just a desire to try and kill the Jews, because we know that from polling. Polling after poll is telling us that the majority of Arabs that live in Judea and Samaria or Gaza support what happened on October 7th. Yep. Margaret Barrett says, I have great affection for the Jewish nation. As a Christian, I know that without the Jews, we would have no roots. May God bless you and keep you, the Jewish people. Well, thank you very much, Margaret, for acknowledging that and for your kind words. Greatly appreciated. And we have a lot of Christian supporters on this channel, JTV. So thank you for that. Palestinian Authority head Mahmoud Abbas is on record explaining how they left Sfad, him with a pair of old shoes, not forced to flee, just listening to their Arab leaders. Jerome Hennon said, world chooses Islamic radicalism, chaos and death and hate over it. What Israel offers: growth, peace, wealth, love and success. Bernie says, the Zionist flag since 1948 shows 2 blue lines from the river to the sea. Israel will be free. Only Zionist settlers allowed. By Zionist, simply we mean people that accept this is the Jewish people's home. Joanne says, will you be uploading this live video to your channel? The truth matters more than ever. I'd love to share this video with others. Joanne, yes. The video I assume you're talking about, do you mean the campaign video for our campaign? Yes, we're going to be posting that. I'll be showing it on a lot of videos as we go live. Again, please do share our campaign link. That's the key thing to share, the link in the video description. And that will really, really help us to grow. Please share it. Encourage your family, friends, contacts to donate whatever they can. You can watch the campaign video I showed you in that link, in the link in the video description. At the top of the page, you'll be able to see. In fact, I can, you know what, I'll even show it to you now so you can see it. So if you go onto the link in the video description, then you will see at the top of the play button. You click play, and then you can watch the video here. So that's how you do that. Sister A says, I concur with Margaret. Great stuff. What's this guy's name again? I've been a long time fan of the channel. My name is Ollie, and I've been doing JTV for quite a long time, because I believe in its importance both for Jews to become more literate in the incredible, beautiful wisdom of Judaism and its relevance to our lives and the truth of the Torah. I do it because of the incredible story of Jewish history that is unparalleled, a story that is unparalleled. I do it because it's important to tell the truth of Israel and Israel's cause in a world that is either too afraid to say it or too poisoned with hate. And I do it because it's so needed, and social media is the place to do it. And it's for non-Jews as well, because everyone is now in need of the truth. And I believe the best way to fight anti-Semitism, which is so often just based on ignorance and the Jews being a mystery, is to demystify. Let's demystify and not just fight the hate, but inspire people with the truth. So thank you so much for watching. As I say, last time I'll say it on this video, but please do click the link in the video description to donate. We explain what we're trying to do with the funds. We explain how this is going to help us to grow and get more people to understand the truth and shift perspectives. I really believe this is what's needed now. The truth really is the call of the hour. So thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. All the best.